sex and intimacy with supernatural. Having sexual relation with Jinn, Spirit, Demon, Incubus, and Succubus. Succubus, female demonic entity, and Incubus, male demonic entity, is a type of a Jinn. In Arabic language, a Jinn and demon is pretty much the same. One may consider demons to be fallen angels, but in Islam demons are just negative jinns. Since jinns are both good and bad, we use the wording jinn to describe both, a good jinn or a bad jinn. Some people wish to have succubus or incubus. Why? Perhaps they have not enough confidence to pick up a man or woman, or perhaps they think they cannot please another human. Some may have other reason which they feel are valid, just like a person cheating on their spouse usually feel the reason they are doing such an act is valid, when in fact it is not. A succubus or incubus is a very low-class demonic entity. They do not care about you or anyone else. They care about one thing, sex and sexual energy, because this is what feeds them. While the one who keeps such entities think the entity loves them very much, surely they are wrong. They don't care about you. They care about what you provide them. These entities are the same exact entities used by dark magicians since the beginning of time, when they want their victims raped. These entities reside in specific places, bathrooms, restroom, as well as places that have a high amount of sexual activity or energy. Just like any other demonic entity or jinn, there are strong ones and weak ones. Same with succubus and incubus. Some are very strong, while others are not so strong. In Indonesia, a specific ceremony is held. It consists of 3, 7, or 11 days depending on the magician. The ceremony is a type of a wedding. A marriage contract, where one will marry such an entity. High power succubus incubus. In return, the entity will bring them back something of monetary value, that is gold, money, etc. Not enough to make you rich, but an okay amount every time they have sex with the entity. Sounds easy and fun, but indeed it is not. Such relationship has serious consequences. Humans can only have so much sex. I do not care how much Viagra you take, or how drunk you get, our bodies have a limit. But succubus and incubus does not. When these marriage contracts are made, the first few months are fairly easy, but with time, the entity demands more, and more sex to a point, where the human cannot fulfill the entity's sexual desire, thus causing the entity to lash out. First, they take from you anything of monetary value, then they rape you, and at times we have seen such cases turn into possession. So much for your deeply caring spiritual sexual partner. Not everyone that has relations with such entities get a marriage contract that I just spoke of. In fact, a real talented magician with access to very powerful succubus or incubus can only make such a wedding ceremony for a client. So, what is the harm of having a succubus or incubus that is perhaps bought from eBay, Bonanza or some other website that just attached to an object? Well, if in fact it's real, the problems will be just as real. Having sexual relations with such entities hurt one's aura to a point. The inner layer of the aura gets dark. Desire to have sexual human contact lessens. Bad luck due to the fact you have dark negative energies around you are only a few problems one can have. We have seen women, even men, get tortured from these entities that were supposed to be so safe and friendly. While it starts off as fun, exciting and different, it usually leads to a dark path. Even if one simply buys a normal level succubus or incubus, do not be mistaken and think the problems will be minimal or very easy to deal with. Clients we have assisted have been possessed by such entities, have had their relations destroyed, loved ones, especially the significant others, raped or physically hurt in some way. I can't convince anyone not to get such an entity. The ones who have their mind made up about getting such an entity will do just that, get it and try it out. Hopefully you will be one of the very few who has no serious consequences. Lastly, many seem to think succubus or incubus are very pretty, sexy, and handsome. When you look at the listing of such entities on the web, you see very beautiful photos of women and handsome men, but these entities are far from decent looking. If you have never seen one of these entities in its original form, do not try to tell me such entities are Hollywood model look-alike. Firstly, they look nothing like human. When conjured, they usually crawl, slither, or are very hunched over. They are usually extremely black in color, kind of like burnt meat. They do have fairly white teeth, but we have seen some with none. Some have tails. Their faces look nothing close to a human's face, but more of a demonic look, animal-like. One of the main powers of these entities is to make you think they are beautiful and desirable, when in fact, they are hideous. I find it so very odd that an entity that cares only about sex is so foul looking. If you wish to spirit keep, be smart, be knowable, and do not get an entity to replace something a human is supposed to give you. Get something that is good and actually cares about you, not what you give it.